made contact and shattered.
At some point, Chris locates what's called a dry bag.
Law enforcement had considered Laundrie the only person of interest in the murder of his fiancée, Gabby Petito.
Reference to a missing 4-year-old, the parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Turn it over to another agency. Let's get some help.
Hello? It's John. Airbags are going home.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another ATS News live stream. We're going to go over some of Nick Rinn's statements. He's the diver that found Kielyrodni's car and her remains in the car on that fateful day that everybody knows about at this point. We are still waiting for the autopsy results. We are waiting for cause and manner of death still. They have refused to give us any information, even preliminary information that they may have as far as that stuff. And I just wanted to thank everybody for your kind thoughts and prayers for my little one and actually her fiance, or yeah, my fiance and I actually ended up getting COVID too this whole weekend. So we're kind of recovering. She's good. It only affects like little babies for like a little bit. So luckily it came and went for her really fast. So if I sound more nasally, more than normal, that's because I'm a little sick. So sorry, guys. Anyways, thank you everyone for being here, and good morning to all my moderators, and thanks for being here, guys. All right, so I've been on NyQuil for the past few nights. So in the morning, I'm a little bit foggy, more foggy than usual. So please bear with me. And again, as you know, this isn't my office. I'm usually in my office for live streams, but in the morning while she's sleeping, I just sneak down here. So I hope you're okay with the lamp, because I've gotten some comments about the lamp. And it's from TJ Maxx. I never had any idea that people would be so curious, like why it looks the way it does. I never thought about it. But anyways, guys, we have some stuff to go through. Hello, Blues Clues, Brookie, allegedly, Mel Mac, Robert Ryan. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, I just want to go through just Nick's statements. I feel since he was the closest eyewitness to the death scene or crime scene, whichever you want to call it, his account is very meaningful, and it's very interesting. Now, I did see some things going around early this morning that was released last night, something about Kiely being seen around 1 a.m. And there's an eyewitness apparently who doesn't want to show their voice or play their voice. So there's a voice changer and they don't want to show their face. So there's no face. Like, I don't like witnesses that come forward that won't show their face or even have their voice. To me, it's not very reliable. To me, it's a little bit eyebrow raising, and I don't know how much of it to kind of weigh into. However, the information that they were saying was something that kind of corroborates with stuff that we've been talking about already, and we can actually go back into past live streams. And I was trying to find it, but I was already 5 minutes late, and I didn't want to keep you guys waiting. But somebody is saying that they saw Kiely around 1 a.m. We already knew that. We actually already talked about that. I'll link the live stream where we kind of honed in on that information. It's already been out there. It's anonymous information. We still never had a source of it. So I guess regardless if this person is going to play their voice or show their face, it doesn't really matter because the information we already knew it. The information, oddly enough, came from SF Investigates. And I know how everybody feels about him. And I know how everybody feels about certain people in this case. And push aside your personal feelings, what they had to say, some of it, I believe, as far as when they're not talking BS, like about drama and stuff like that. If you listen in, there is some stuff that's like, oh, that's interesting. And at one point, SF on his Twitter, remember when he did that questionnaire for like 2 hours and he answered people's questions and all that? We played it in a live stream. Hi, Nikki Rex. And we played the voice part where he said when he went to the community center for the first time, and remember that was the trailer and the camper area where the family was gathering, and that was like their home base. He said that on the bulletin board, they had it written that Kiely was last seen, like the last sighting of her was at 1 a.m. So that information came from the community center. And then SF Investigates relayed that information to us. And again, I'm not saying I trust everything SF Investigates has to say. I don't condone, everything that other YouTubers and other people do. I'm just here for the information. And the community center had the information. The community center was being run by the family, and I know law enforcement was there. And it said right on the bulletin board that the last eyewitness sighting of her was around 1 a.m. And weeks ago, we wondered where that came from, who wrote that there, and why suddenly did it change, because we didn't really have that in the mainstream media telling us that she was last seen around 1 a.m. But the community center and the family and everyone had known it. And we kind of dug into that a few weeks ago. So again, I'll link that description box and you can hear him talk about it. It's basically exactly what I said. He arrived at the community center. He was getting ready to introduce himself. He noticed on the bulletin board, it said last seen around 1 a.m. So we don't know who it was. We still don't know who it was. But yeah, so that is what I'd seen, and I just wanted to talk about with you guys. And I know for anyone who has been watching my live streams, you might even remember when we went through that and when we heard him mention that the eyewitness last saw her around 1 a.m. So guys, I'm honestly at the point where I just feel like this party is not what we should be focusing on. Like, I feel like the important information is coming from a small group and it has nothing to do with the party. That's just my thoughts where I'm at right now. I'm feeling this way because this whole roadside assistant tip, that pretty much indicates that she was alive, or her car was not in the water that night of the party. So are you guys on the same page as me? Because I'm seeing somebody say me too, ATS. Good morning, SU Coder. It's good to see you. What kind of coffee do you guys drink? I just stick to Folgers. Curious what you guys are drinking. So, all right. So other people are agreeing. And the thing is, law enforcement, I believe, said something recently. Hopefully we get more information from that graduation party. That's just a ruse, I think. I think that they're trying to make it seem like that the party holds the key and that the party goers hold the answers. I don't think that anymore. I don't think that was her last location. So to me, I'm not really, I know her phone was there last. Something took place as far as her phone and stuff like that there, but for her and where she went, I'm not getting the vibe that the party goers hold the answers. Do you guys understand me? I feel like they broke away, they went somewhere, something happened away from this setting, so it doesn't really matter. And good morning, Rosie. It's good to see you. Just looking through chat, guys. I see, okay, Maxwell House. Really? I'm not a Starbucks fan. I know that's crazy, but I'm the type, I could I could drink coffee at a gas station and be happy. People like green tea. Thank you for becoming a member, Connie. I really appreciate your support. And if you guys want to show any support, just like and subscribe. That's a free way to support the channel. So, good morning, allegedly, with Brittany. All right, guys. So where do I want to start? Let me just share my screen. Give me a second, guys. All right. There are some things I'm going to need to work out with you guys too. Like, as you see here, it's Nick's foot, his flipper there, right? And that is the vehicle. Some of the first scenes that we see of it, upside down as it's been described. And yeah, so he's been on several channels, Nick Rinn. He's very fascinating to listen to. We definitely have been sending him a lot of well wishes and prayers for, this is his first time discovering a grim scene. So he's been in our thoughts and prayers for sure. He went on Grizzly True Crime, which we'll play a few clips from that. And then we're going to play a few clips from Duty Ron when he was on there. And all those streams will be linked in the description box. And I encourage you to watch them all the way through. I'm just picking out a little bit from here and there. Okay, yeah, allegedly, that is something that we are going to uncover together. So thank you for bringing that up. ATS News, have we found out if the trunk was towards the shore or was it the front of the car towards the shore? So that is one of the main points today in the live streams, and you're always on the same page as me, allegedly. I mean, even if we are on different pages, your input is always interesting. And yeah, I'm just so glad that you already are on the page that I'm on. Like, we need to figure out exactly the position, only because, like, and again, this doesn't necessarily mean it went down this way, but if the rear of the vehicle, the trunk is pointed away from the shore and it's pointed out towards the lake, does that mean that it could have been pushed into the lake? They put it in neutral and they're pushing it from the front of the car, pushing it back, because if she's in the trunk, and let's just theorize that she was already deceased before entering the water. So she's been put in the trunk. They want to get rid of her or this person. I'm not sure how many it is. It's max 2 people, I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Like, where are you at as far as if this is a conspiracy? How many are involved? Max 2 other people, I'm thinking. 1 to 2. Curious what chat's thinking. And good morning, EE Caroline. So good to see you. Jody is cool. Thanks for being here. Hi, Ken. So if the rear is facing away from the shore, and again, my fiance said, well, that could have happened while it was filling with water and flipping. I mean, we don't know the exact physics of what was taking place underwater. But what if it's facing away from the shore because it was pushed in from the front? Do you know what I mean? Okay, so I'm seeing people definitely thinking that there's 2 people. Somebody says, Candace says 2, if not more. That would be insane. All these people, I'm not saying it's not true, but all these people talking about or keeping things on the low, it's crazy. So what would be the reason for pushing it in backwards? That the point of that, I don't know the point of it. I would say maybe they didn't want to look at her, so they're not going to go to the rear of the trunk and push her in that way, because then they're looking directly at what they had done. I'm just assuming that they're cowards. They don't want to look at what is transpired, but they're being a part of it. I don't know, guys. I'm just speculating. All I know is the rear of the car possibly was not facing the shore. Could it have happened just from filling with water and the physics? Yeah. But I'm just thinking, what if it wasn't facing the shore because it went in reverse? They're pushing it. They don't want to look at the remains in the trunk. So they're just keeping their eyes, on the windshield as they're pushing it on the hood. Guys, I don't know. I'm just theorizing. All I know is I want you guys to help me figure out, is this rear of the car facing towards the shore or the way? Because see on the screen his flipper, and then you start to see the outline of the car as we approach. I did edit their footage, the underwater footage, because I just want Nick Rinn. I just want to see his views, his everything. So instead of it flipping back to the shoreline where you see Doug say 10-4 and all that, I cut Doug out. I'm sorry, Doug. But this is just about Nick. This is just about what he's seeing and hearing. So, yeah, apparently there is no current, Florida. They're saying that it's like a man-made lake. It's still very light current, apparently. That was her last location for sure. Yes, according to the phone, that is her last location. Yeah, well, the thing is, Nellie, Doug said that the front was facing the water. So then Nick said otherwise. So we'll play all that. But first, let's just get into the head of Nick right now, diving. Watch and listen to everything he says, and then we'll break it down together, and we're going to go through his other statements on those other channels that we talked about. Okay, guys? So right now, I don't know where the shoreline is in position to what we're looking at. So help me out, guys. And I'm going to grab more coffee while I play this for you guys.
Confirm. I see the vehicle and the license plate. We have just found Kiely's vehicle. Over.
Now, we see him go directly down, and he's at the rear of the vehicle.
The vehicle is upside down. I repeat, it is upside down. I'm at the rear of the vehicle now, working my way around towards the driver's side. Over. I'm approaching the driver's side window, trying to get a look inside.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Robert Ryan. The windows down, it would sink fast, like 30 seconds. Oh, so wait, are you saying that it would float with the windows down? Either way, can I just say I find it interesting and strange at the same time. Excuse me, sorry, I had a cough and I don't want to do it in your guys' ear. Anyways, passenger window being down and then the driver side rear window being halfway down. Again, it might be child lock. That might be as far down as it goes. Do you guys find it strange that it's like the windows themselves, like the positioning of them, it just seems like so calculated that like have one side of the vehicle have a window down and then have the other side of the vehicle also have a window down. And it's just been done so in a way that like they really thought this through, like make sure it sinks quick, but we don't want things floating out of, like we don't want the body to float out. So keep two of the windows shut. But when you open the two windows, make sure it's one on each side. Like, do you guys think that the windows themselves are like a calculated aspect in all this? Because it wasn't like just the passenger side window was down or, it wasn't even like the back two windows were down. Like it's the front passenger and then it's the opposite side, the driver one, back passenger one. Like it's like, yeah, a spun one is getting at what I'm saying. Feeling it's deliberate for sure. Like, yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Now I used a little bit of enhancing, I didn't alter anything. It's just a way to kind of sharpen your images in iMovie. So while this is the same footage, it might be a different like color of things because I've used the iMovie's enhancement. So if you guys spot anything that you normally didn't before, let me know. I feel like I saw something outside the vehicle that I'd never noticed before, but now that I'm watching it with you guys, of course, I haven't seen it yet, but I'll try to look. It looked almost like that duffel bag that was pulled up. Remember they had that like duffel bag that had stuff in it? Anyways, keep an eye out for broken glass because the other thing that I really want to, focus in on is if the passenger window was broken out or if it was just down. I know that initially Nick says that the passenger window is broken out, but then he backtracks and obviously everyone knows like unless there's like glass and stuff, like we really don't know that for sure. And I don't blame Nick for saying it was broken out at first. He's probably thinking they tried to escape or something. You know what I mean? Excuse me. But thanks for being here, guys. And good morning, Ashley Oaks. If you guys haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. I'm so happy that you're all here with me this morning. So that right there, do you see that right above where it says positively identify? See how it's like dark? Is that part of the lake? Like, is that a rock or something? You see what I mean? Right underneath the car. I don't know if you can see my mouse, like when I'm in StreamYard, but I don't know. It looks like something is like outside the car there. I don't know if it's a blanket or if it's a rock. Don't know, but there it is. Good morning, C-Dub. Good to see you. Good morning, Southern Mountain Girl and Lisa. Good to see you guys.
Positively identify anybody inside yet. I'm looking in the back now. In the back, I'm moving my way towards the back window. I just confirm there are human remains in the vehicle. Over. The passenger window is broken out, it appears.
Passenger window is broken out, it appears. Again, he ends up saying he wasn't 100% sure on that, but it's interesting because that is something that's been going around and around. We had the Daily Mail and say what you will about them, but they're out there reporting a couple of days ago that the window was broken out. I shared it on my community page. Their imagery was like they literally had like an illustration of the car with it like broken. It's like we don't know if that's what it was, but you know what? His first initial sighting of it, those were the impressions he was given, but he's going to talk about it later when we share the clips of him. And yes, Ringo, good morning, good to see you. He said a pair of shoes. I see a pair of shoes. So obviously people know pair means two. Good morning, Insanely Confused. Good to see you. So again, we've all kind of wondered, were the shoes on her feet? Is that what he's seeing at that moment? You know what I mean? Because in the interview later, he does end up saying, once he saw her feet and skin, then he realized there was some remains. But we'll get to his wording. Again, this is just the footage from underwater without Doug in it. It's just been edited just to have Nick's point of view and everything Nick. So thanks for being here this morning while we go through some of Nick's statements. And while we're watching this, if you guys could just send some hearts in the chat for Nick, I think that it's good to send some good vibes his way, because you know, he's used the word shocked more than once, like when he's explaining about what his thoughts were when he came up to water. And we're going to kind of talk about his statements when he says that he was shocked that they found the vehicle and that law enforcement didn't. He literally says the word shocked in multiple interviews. And he starts to say that, like, the information that they received before they even took this dive, and I believe that he's referring to roadside assistant Nick and that interview, he's pretty much stunned. He comes up from the water and he's confused how law enforcement didn't see it. Who knows what else is making him a little bit shocked too, you know? Like, I think that there's a lot more, obviously, with an open investigation. He's not going to get into every little thing that was shocking him about what he saw, but I think we can read between the lines a little bit. And, you know, her in the trunk of the vehicle, even though he said he didn't have much experience to base that off of, he seemed a little stunned by all of it.
Rear driver's side window is halfway down. Find the line and turn top side.
Now, this part I slowed down just one notch too, because, you know, I want to really take in everything he has to say. And in another interview that we're going to play too, I've slowed down his statements a little bit, because it's important to kind of listen without speeding through the information.
Yep. That's what we do it for, brother. Good job. Good job. It's positive, you know? All right.
She's in the back of the vehicle.
Okay.
She's not in the driver's seat. It looks suspicious to me.
Yeah.
Vehicle's upside down. Some of the one window is halfway down. One window is all the way down.
And as we know, he follows it up with call the authorities. I just feel like his face, you know, a lot of people are saying that you can tell he's in shock, for obvious reasons. All right, guys. So now that we've kind of gotten everything that Nick said, we're going to go into his statements with a few interviews, which was discussing everything that we had just seen. So let me share my screen, but also I've got notes here. So instead of going through the entire interview, I've listened and pulled things out that I think are important. So first off, I do have a little note at the top of my page in reference to live streams that I did previously when we broke down Sammy Smith's interview, the one where she's with that guy, Tony, that everyone loves. I had said something about the interview being on the 11th. There's been a correction. Thank you to Criminality, Teresa. It was posted on the 11th after he edited it. I didn't realize that the interview was edited. It was on the 9th that he interviewed her. So I just wanted to get that out there, because I like to correct things if I've said something wrong in the past. So that interview with Sammy was on the 9th, technically. All right, back to Nick. So he's on Grizzly True Crime, and he's talking about the dive. And he said that the visibility at Prosser Lake was 5 to 6 feet. It was very clear. It's usually the conditions of the water that they work with is much more murky, and this was an easy dive for them as far as visibility. So I think that that was noteworthy because everything that he's seen and saying was clear. It wasn't very murky waters pretty much. So I think that that's good to know that when he's saying things like I see a pair of shoes, and then when he talks about things that he talks about in these interviews, I'm confident to have in my mind that he could see what he's talking about, and that we can pull away from his eyewitness account a lot of information because the visibility was clear. So I want to get this out because I'm not even joking, guys. I'm getting people in my comment section still confused on what windows were down, what windows were broken, etc. So the driver's side window, and I know you guys in chat know this, but sometimes I feel like replay people who are out of the loop or something don't know the facts, but the driver's side window was broken while they flipped it. Because I'm getting people in my comment section saying, no, they broke the driver's side window. Sorry. They're basically saying the wrong information. And so I just want to lay it out there. Driver's side window was broken upon flipping. Passenger window is either broken or it's down all the way, and that is upon arrival. Like when they discovered it, that's what it was. When Nick went down there and went along to the driver's side, the window's intact. So AWP did not break the driver's side window. They didn't break any windows. FBI, when they flipped it, they damaged the vehicle. So I just want to lay that out there. I know a lot of you guys already know that, but I'm still getting comments that are saying like, no, they broke the window, the passenger window from flipping. It's a driver's side window that got damaged during the flip. So I'm still reading chat a little bit. I do want to emphasize the driver's seat, and we've talked about it in past live streams. It looks way too far back. The position of the driver's seat to me just looks too far back. Again, I'm not there in person. I can't literally see it, but I know just from, living that looks a little bit too far back for her. All right. So hang on, guys. I need more coffee, and I don't know. I'm still got it like an itchy throat. I'm sorry, guys, but I didn't want to skip out on a live stream, and my fiance goes to campus this early anyway, so I'm already up. But I'm just not 100% still, guys. All right, so let me switch my screen and grab more coffee. And again, I'll be linking the live streams that we are referencing and sourcing today in the description box, so you guys can watch them all the way through if you haven't already. I'm only going to pull out little things. So we'll start here. Okay, got my coffee. Thanks for understanding, guys. You're all so kind. Thank you.
So I've had some people.
Okay, she asked him pretty much the positioning of the vehicle. Duty Ron and Ed Wallace ask him the same question on their live stream, and he gives pretty much the same answer. So take it for what you will. C-Dub said, I just got an at-home COVID test, tested 2 days ago because I had a mega sore throat and at a weird time of the day. All is well. I hope you guys are all okay. ATS News. Thank you. We're getting there. As long as the little one's not sick anymore, I'm good. Like I can deal with this. It's just, it's annoying that I'm not 100%, but I'm not about to just, stay in bed. Like I said, fiance gets me up this early. I might as well be live with you guys starting my day. So I appreciate you guys all being here, having coffee with me. And yeah, I can't thank the community enough. And for those who join me every day to go through this stuff, we have a lot of questions and there's a lot of answers that we all want in this case. And, the clock is ticking for law enforcement to come out with anything. They can't just hide away and hopefully they're hiding because they're gathering good stuff to show us and legit investigative avenues that they're taking is going on behind the scenes. I think that it's a little bit shaky, our confidence in law enforcement in this case. But the black box is not going to lie. Even if this is what I wanted to say too. Even if the autopsy, which people have already said, is going to come back inconclusive because of the amount of time she was in the water and the toxicology and the alcohol won't be good to pull and get accurate results from, blah, 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 blah. What's not going to lie is the black box. And I just hope they really got it, because there was a little bit of, well, hopefully water didn't damage it. There is always that what if, but the black box is going to know exactly when that car hit the water. And the other thing that I need to discuss with you guys and talk about with you guys today is the theory that that car was not in there the night of the party. That car might not have even been in there after the roadside assistant thing. It could have been put in there days later, I'm thinking. Are you guys on that page with me? As much as I don't want to be like off the boat and off the chains with conspiracy theories, like I am having a hard time with the sonar from law enforcement, the divers from law enforcement, the drones, the helicopters, all of them missing the vehicle. I'm having a very hard time with that. And that's why I lean on you guys also, because if I'm just kind of overthinking something, I know you guys will bring me back down to reality and be like, not that big of a deal. This has happened before, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think where I'm at right now is I don't think that the party has much to do with what happened to Kiely. Like, as far as the answers aren't going to be from somebody at the party. I think it was a small thing with a smaller group that know exactly what happened, and her driving drunk accidentally into the lake that night of the party. I don't think that that's on my radar anymore. It was always kind of there as like a possibility. But if this roadside assistance sighting is accurate, if that's the car, how is the car in the lake, but then also being seen by the roadside assistance guy the next day? And I'm wondering, I'm asking that because I have people in my comment section or just around in the case talking about this, and they're having the same theory. They believe the roadside assistance guy 100%, and they're saying AWP wouldn't lie. And I'm not saying they would, but I'm saying the same people that are saying that are also saying that, well, it is possible she was drunk and drove in the water. Guys, it can't be two things. She can't have accidentally drove into the water the night before being seen by a roadside guy. So allegedly said, yes, I have said it since day 2 and ever since joining your lives where everyone ignored me and argued. She wasn't in the water until after the local law enforcement search. And remember, Sammy, in her interview with Weird Tony, that she said something about the vacation homes had kids possibly coming to the parties who just wanted to party, something along the lines of the vacation people. So I've always thought, and people have speculated when we couldn't find her vehicle when she was a missing person, that maybe they were hiding the vehicle or her in these vacation homes. I think that that's a good scenario to kind of keep as a possibility. Alrighty. So they're going to ask Nick about the positioning of the vehicle. Let's get back into that.
Asked me this question already, and I wished I would have studied it more. But again, the stuff that was going through my mind, it happened pretty quick, and next time I'll take better notes and I'll know what to check for. I swam out to it and went down on the buoy. And how I saw it, I was at the back of the vehicle. You can see that in the footage. How the vehicle.
It is okay to be so stressed and over.
To the shore, I can't 100% confirm, but I will tell you that I feel like the back end of the vehicle was actually away from the shore and towards the lake and not the other way around.
Okay.
So again, I didn't check it with a compass. I probably should have, but again, I'm learning. This is kind of new for me too. So I'm taking notes of next time what kind of notes, and I'll take a slate and actually draw a picture with a compass bearing of it. This is exactly the orientation, but you know, the investigators, I'm assuming would have.
And we assume that the investigators know the positioning, but we also know that we can't really 100% rely on these specific investigators. But hopefully they know the orientation of the whatchamacallit car. Do you guys think that it's weird, or am I just overanalyzing like usual the position of the car? Like, if I guess that's the thing, is like we don't know exact physics, like what the water would have done and turn the car, etc. But if the rear was away from the shoreline, is that strange to you guys, or what? Or is it not strange? All right, moving right along while you guys answer me on that one.
And what I saw and
Okay, so he's about to get into his conversation about he's subtly referencing roadside assistance guy. He's saying, with the information that I gathered and that I saw, and then he kind of goes on. And okay, people are saying that they do think the position is important of the vehicle and that they do find it weird. Did it float out or was it ditched? What do you mean? Like, was it? Oh, you mean were there occupants in it besides Kiely? Like, did it get ditched by like drivers and stuff, like that got out of the vehicle and left her in it, or was it pushed and floated out? Is that what you're asking, Robert? That's the other thing is, when this first started, I thought, well, maybe somebody else was driving and got out of the vehicle but couldn't save Kiely too, you know? And of course, that's still leaving the scene of an accident and obviously involuntary vehicular manslaughter or something like that. I could be wrong in the charge, but not a good thing to do anyways. You know, you don't leave and try and hide an accident like that. But now I'm just thinking like, no, I don't even think that somebody accidentally drove in the water, like not even another driver. I don't think it was Kiely and I don't think it was another driver. I literally think this was ditched there in a means to hide whatever transpired. So I don't think that this was any type of accident, and the black box will know that. It'll have an indication of the steering and all that. So sorry, I'm just looking through chat. Okay, guys. So again, this Boca stuff, guys, I think that keep in mind, this is the other thing that I really want to emphasize this morning with you guys. They've only shared 10% of that roadside assistance guy's interview. That's huge considering what we know. He said this girl was asking strange questions. She looked like she had a long night or a long morning. Remember, he used the term distressed. He said that she was asking how to buckle the seatbelt and then how to buckle the seatbelt into her actual belt. There was just, boom, boom, boom. We went through it in our last live stream, the roadside assistance guy's statement. Go to AWP's video, watch it. We slowed it down one notch so that we could really absorb what he's got to say. That to me is huge. And another indication that the party has absolutely nothing to do with what's taken place in this case, and that everyone's focused on, like, why is nobody at the party talking? Well, like, guys, they have the information they need behind closed doors. I believe that law enforcement has been trying to make it seem like the party is the key, when really they know a lot more, especially if this roadside and AWP fans are going to get so mad at me because they're going to be like, it is true. They wouldn't put it. Guys, I've got in the comments like, okay, I'm just saying, like, until I see the footage, the dash cam footage, like, I don't know who's on the camera footage. So it's fair to question still what exactly they're looking at. Who is the girl? Who is the guy? I don't believe that the girl is Kiely right now. Like, I think that she's already gone. She's either in the back of the truck at the roadside assistance thing or hidden somewhere. I don't know, guys, but remember, he said that he's shocked by finding her because law enforcement didn't. And he's about to say in this little interview that all the information that they gathered up to finding her really made his mind blown and like, wow, this is suspicious. So
heard and interviewed people. You remember we were
and like, wait, what is that? I also hadn't noticed this the first time around, but when I saw it, you can't unsee it then.
Here yeah, no, that is interesting.
Tether strap, perhaps, yeah?
Right.
Oh, my word. Wow.
Yeah, oh, again, the scenario and the way I found the vehicle and what I saw and heard and interviewed people. You remember we found her on day 2 of our investigation.
Yes.
So we spent the day previous to this looking at some other areas based on some information that we received that deemed pretty credible. And so
he's reiterating the information that they received before even finding her. They deemed it pretty credible, and he's shaking his head no, like, guys, they only have shown us 10% of that footage. So that interview, everything that Nick knows about it, like, that it's just blowing my mind that for weeks, all of us thought that the party and what happened that night was, significant. However, this roadside assistant has really put in a wrench in a lot of theories into a lot of things going on. A lot of people think that the girl was Kate. A lot of people think the guy was Jagger. I don't know those answers, and everyone's free to theorize about it. But I'm just not feeling like it was Kiely. I don't know. I don't know why I'm feeling that way. And yes, K. Danielle, I agree that the party's a distraction for sure. Just saying, ATS News, AWP has 2.5 million subs. They have 50K or more members. Imagine if they lied just a tiny bit. Exactly. And that's the more that time went on. And that's the thing, guys. Like, I know that some of the people who are watching me found me just because, AWP's mentioned or whatever. And I'm happy to have you all here. But for me, like, I have to see something really to believe it. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot for me to just believe somebody's word. But the more that time went on and the more I started calculating everything you just said, allegedly, I'm just thinking, that would be detrimental to everybody's reputation, just everything. If whatever is being said with roadside guy was not legit, which means this wasn't an accident that she drove into the water. So, and it also means that everything that happened at that party and that night alone, like, to me, is almost irrelevant. Like, I'm at the point I don't even care like how many people were at the party. Like, I know that that's been something that's been going around. Like, was there even 200 to 400 people there? I don't think so. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like, she probably left anyways to go with a smaller group and party. So if something happened, it doesn't matter that nobody at this 200 plus party like saw her. And people have allegedly come forward saying they see her. We actually have law enforcement saying that there's a video of her in that Odd Future hoodie there. So I know by her phone too that she was there. So I'm not questioning was she there anymore, and I'm not questioning the number of people at the party. Like, I just think that those are things that have just been going around and around, and it's like irrelevant. You know, especially this roadside assistant information. That car was not in that water at that point. So the mass exit and all that, and that picture of all the teens facing one way, like, has nothing to do with her vehicle being in the water at that moment, in my opinion.
When you find something like this, and as we all know now that she was in the back of the vehicle, I also know that it's not just a guaranteed if somebody's found in the back of the vehicle that it's instantly foul play. However, when something looks out of place to you, you just know that. So it did look suspicious to me. That's about all I can really say. I'm not basing it off of past experience. I'm basing it off of just the way that
For just 6.
So he's pretty much saying, like, it doesn't matter, his past experience with diving. The reason why he's feeling it's suspicious is because of everything that was calculated and taken in, and all the context that they had gotten prior to, that dive. And whatever that interview is, something really raised their antennas when they discovered her, and they were like, this is strange. So let me just rewind that a little bit, because he's pretty much just going to say, like, it had nothing to do with seeing other people in the back of the vehicles and other things. This is just everything that they had gathered from Boca, that interview with Roadside Nick. That's what really, so it's just, to me, I'm like, okay, so what don't we know that is really shocking him? Because he says over and over, I was shocked that we'd found her. Law enforcement didn't find her. I'm thinking that this shocked is more than just he's shocked that law enforcement didn't find her and that they did.
Basing it off of past experience. I'm basing it off of just the way that whole weekend played out, the things I heard and what I saw. It seemed a little suspicious to me.
And especially, as you say, with the passenger window being completely, initially you said broken out,
yes,
and another time you said down, and then Doug actually said not there.
Again, I should have rephrased that to just say the passenger window is either broken out or rolled down. My guess is it was rolled down because I did not notice any broken glass. And even in the footage after reviewing it, I didn't see any broken glass. If that would have broke during it going into the water, more than likely you'd see some evidence of broken glass around the vehicle or even in the vehicle. Now, if it broke before the vehicle went into the water, you might not see any evidence. However, you might see some inside the little slot where the window actually goes, and I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, and
now, remember, his visibility, he said, was extremely good. So, they didn't see any broken glass underwater. That's noteworthy. Law enforcement, I would hope, knows or will be able to tell, like he said, if it was broke before entering the water, like someplace else, would it have, remnants of it in the window well? You would think so. Hopefully they're treating that as if it was like a huge piece of evidence. But seeing how we saw how they treated it, it's very hard to just assume like, okay, well, law enforcement will know this. Hopefully they do. Good morning, CDT. Good to see you. All right. So the other reason why I wanted to pause this is, I think it's fair to wonder, was that window broken someplace else, or was it just rolled down as part of, like we discussed earlier in the stream about being calculated so that the water filled the vehicle quicker, have the one side on the passenger and then open the driver back one, you know what I mean? Kind of balance it out so the water is like evenly flowing in a way. So anyways, moving right along.
And of course, slowing down the video and analyzing every frame, I can see that sleuths also haven't really seen glass. However, the diver that went out there that's going to join us shortly said now with them flipping the vehicle and then that driver's side window breaking, there was a lot of glass on the ground where he's been looking for items and found the laptop, the hairbrush, and all the stuff.
Right.
He said it's just like so much glass. So one would expect there to be a lot of glass. Yes.
Right. And obviously that glass would have been from the window that broke when they were rolling the vehicle back over, because I didn't notice any in my complete 360 of the vehicle. I didn't notice any.
Right. Wow. And they say what? But law enforcement broke the driver's window. Apparently, maybe from the flip. Yeah, I would assume
Yes.
it could be, especially if it was angled and they pivot like that.
Yeah, if you also notice the driver's window was broken when they pulled it out, and at least one of the rear view mirrors was broken off.
So we discussed it also in the past live stream, how it's unfortunate that, they did break the driver's side window, because if there was, which Nick has said in interviews before, I should bring that up again, that he never saw any signs of people tried to break a window. Like Kiely didn't try to, like he didn't see any like spider cracking or any marks where like maybe she took her key or something. But now that the window's broken from them flipping it, we really don't really know that. But then I'm also thinking the black box, let me know guys in chat, the black box would indicate if there was some sort of hard impact maybe. But then at the same time, is the black box working past 20 seconds after a crash? I don't think so. Like, I think they said something like it only records very small frame of time after a crash. So I don't know. It's just unfortunate because that could have been maybe fingerprints on the window that wasn't Kiely's. That stuff's just been tampered with and compromised now.
Those were intact, if I remember right, when I was underwater.
Yeah. Okay, so for you, this is a tough question, and you might not be able to answer it. Yeah, people are already asking some of this stuff. So the only thing I want to know, because there's a lot of speculation that perhaps the car was placed there later. But of course, that would mean that the human remains you found inside, would be in a different state.
So I just want to pause it here and kind of elaborate more about why I wanted to do this live stream. So I've been obviously analyzing all these interviews and going over every little thing. And some of the things that I like to do is just pay attention to body language and stuff too. Like, I thought that it was noteworthy, the questions that Nick decided to ask Barbara Butcher, who is the chief of staff at the medical examiner's office in New York, but she's retired. But anyways, you guys know her from Duty Ron. I found it interesting and noteworthy, the questions that he decided to ask her. And I think that it's interesting because he asks about decomp state and this question that he's going to go on with her about, was she placed there afterwards? Would you be able to tell? And Barbara pretty much says, like, yeah, there are ways, they'll be able to tell if she was dead before entering water. And not only that, like, they'll be able to tell pretty much. And a way that they'll be able to tell is something called livor mortis. Is that right, guys? Some people call it liver mortis, others call it livor mortis. So help me out, guys, what your what you know. I know you guys know this terminology because other cases that we followed together. Good morning, Delaney. So that is something that takes place during decomposition, not rigor mortis. Rigors, when your muscles are tensed up or whatever. This is different. This has to do with so when you're alive, obviously your blood is pumping and your heart's pumping the blood. But when you die, the blood's got to settle. So if she was placed in the water later, it will show like a level of her blood settling. So that's what it is. So live, is it, everyone's spelling it, it's spelled the same but pronounced two different ways. How do you guys pronounce it, liver or liver? Because I'm seeing everyone saying liver mortis, like, yes, okay, but how do we pronounce it accurately? Because I've heard it two ways. But yeah, second stage of decomp, Robert Ryan says. Thank you so much, guys. So yeah, well, that's the thing, Candy. We all thought water in the lungs should be able to tell it, but Barbara Butcher, which you guys need to watch the live stream if you haven't, she pretty much says like, well, her being waterlogged so long, there will be water in her lungs either way, but it wouldn't be as much. And actually you can tell like by the cells or whatever, like you'll be able to tell if she drowned or if it was water in the lungs just from filling the body. But liver, like the body part, someone's saying, okay, I've always heard it liver or liver. Okay. Either way, guys, if her blood settled, it will leave markings, like it's like a darker, like on the body. You guys can Google it. I'm not going to pull it up right now, but there's markings to show that, yeah, her blood settled. She's been laying in this trunk this way for a while, and yeah, she did not drown. But yeah, I highly suggest you guys watch that whole live stream. Anyways, so what am I getting at? I'm feeling like Nick is under the impression and he's open-minded to the idea that this was all placed there at a different time. So she's going to theorize this with him, and I feel like he's very like on board with that being a possibility. And remember, he said that he was shocked that they had found her, that law enforcement didn't, and that everything that was leading up to finding her really made things suspicious. And we have only been given 10% of that interview. So everything that he knows leading up to that he finds, it suspicious once he finds it and all that, I find it very noteworthy. And I'm thinking whatever they know is also probably aligning with things being put into the lake at a different time, like later on. And again, obviously it's later on than the party, because if roadside guys saw her on Saturday morning, 11-ish, then obviously it was put in the lake later than when we all kind of thought at the beginning of the case that it took place that night. Am I making sense, guys? So let me play this. Let me know your thoughts. If you think that he's really thinking that this is an accurate theory, I think that I'm really open to the idea of everything being planted in that lake at a safer time. Whoever put it in there, maybe they were holding it at a vacation home. Sammy mentions that there's no cameras, etc. So what's going on?
Compared to if it was someone that was in the water for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? If they were out the water for 2 weeks and then put in the water, that's a different state. So do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, so I obviously I've thought of this too because of the information that we received prior to our start of this investigation, and then where we found her, knowing that the police and the authorities had already searched this lake, and I believe they searched it on the Sunday after she went missing. So that would have only been, a day and a half after she was last seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so Is there a possibility that they didn't miss the vehicle? The vehicle wasn't in the lake at that point. Absolutely a possibility. Am I familiar enough with what a person looks like in 2 weeks versus 12 days? Not at all. Is it going to look any different? Maybe not. So, near as I can tell, the vehicle looked like it had been there at least a week with the amount of just the way it looked to me. But I can't speculate any further than that. And sure, my mind's asking these same questions.
Yeah.
And very well could be that the vehicle wasn't in there when they first searched the lake.
I mean, that is a.
So he had just said, my mind goes, obviously he's working things out through his mind too. Like, is this possible? Because like him being the one who saw this, and hearing that whole interview that we haven't heard with roadside assistant guy, I think that he's got a lot of his own questions circulating. And this was before he went on duty, Ron. So notice how he said, would a body look that way in comparison to, like, he references like not knowing like how a body would be and stuff in the water for that long or whatever. So, he's got those own questions going on in his head, which is noteworthy in my opinion, because if he comes up saying it looks suspicious and he's used the word shocked numerous times, and obviously he's going to protect the integrity of the investigation, so he's not going to be 100% like transparent on what he may or may not be shocked about. Plus, he just discovered his first set of body remains, and we've understood that that's obviously shocking in itself. So it's just a lot in my mind. I'm thinking that is a very, very high possibility that she was put somewhere else, or this car was someplace else. And then after it was searched, it was put in there. And for the eyewitness to pretty much be on board with that theory, I think is very, very noteworthy, considering that he and all of the team knows way more in that interview with Nick than we know. So my mind is just all over the place. Allegedly, Brittany asked about what I thought about the 1 a.m. thing from the new eyewitness that won't show her face or have her voice out there. I covered it a little bit in the beginning, and I said pretty much I don't really like to listen to witnesses that don't show their face or have their voice playing. Eyewitnesses, even ones that do, are sort of shaky, which is why it took me a while to get on board with this roadside assistant guy. And I don't think 100% that he saw Kiely herself, but I do believe that he saw her car at this point. And these people, I don't know who they are exactly. But anyways, I brought up the fact, and actually is Brookie with Blues Clues still in here? Because she'll know what I'm talking about. And I think CDT, you'll know what I'm talking about. We covered the fact, Brittany, that in the beginning, and say what you will about him, SF Investigates was doing that long interview, 2 hours long or something on Twitter, and he was talking about his accounts and blah, 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 blah. Well, he's talking about how he had arrived at the area where the community center was. Okay, Blues Clues, no, Brooks is in here. Brookie. Remember how SF Investigates, and again, I'm not over here cheerleading for the guy. I'm just stating that this 1 a.m. sighting has already been out there as far as maybe it's the same tip. I don't know. But we've known about a 1 a.m. sighting for a while now. We don't know who it was, but pretty much SF says that when he went to the community center and he introduced himself to, okay, Alicia heard it too. Yeah, there was a black tank top found. We covered that too, guys, but that was all in Boca, which is all tied to this roadside sighting too, in a way. But anyways, he said at the community center when he went and he introduced himself to the family that on the bulletin board, there was something written that said last sighting 1 a.m. And he wondered why the media was saying that the last sighting was at a different time. I think they were only given the last phone stuff was at 12:33. But anyways, on the community board there, it said last sighting 1 a.m. And he was talking about it weeks ago. We brought it up. So John Joe says the time factor hasn't changed. The missing poster says 12:30 to 1 a.m. Yeah, so as much as I loved the and Brookie knows what I'm talking about. Hi Rebecca, it's good to see you. I hope you are getting rested. Yep, slowly getting there. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, people are wondering. Yes, he is I'm feeling that way too at times allegedly, but you know, when he's speaking, if you listen in between, like, because when he was saying that it said that on the bulletin board, he was talking about like his conversation was about something else. So that's how I know, like, I feel like that's probably true. Like, I think that it's, CDT says, I have a screenshot with something about her being seen around 1:30 a.m. from their lodge Instagram. Yeah, that sounds like, definitely is kind of aligning with stuff that we've kind of already known. And guys, remember, my other thing is I don't think that this party really has much significance to what happened. Like, I'm saying, like, it's significant, but I don't think that the party goers hold the answer. I think 2 people at most, maybe 3, hold the answer. Nellie B. Elsa said midnight to the media. And then when Amanda S. Vita followed up with her about it after, was it on TikTok? One of the social medias, Amanda S. Vita, go to her channel, subscribe. She asked Elsa, did you see Kiely, blah, blah, blah. And she said around 12:30. So she told the media weeks prior to Amanda, or at least a week prior to Amanda asking, that it was midnight. And then she told Amanda that it was 12:30. And then she said that the media misquoted her by saying midnight. So I think that that's weird, honestly. I think that that is weird. But all I have to say is I think that the editing and stuff that that those Jane Doe videos are, it's really interesting and really good work. But I am just saying we've kind of already known about the 1 a.m. sightings for a while. So it wasn't really new info to me, at least, and for those who have followed on here. And just other things have been going around. It seems that people in chat are saying that they've seen a little bit of her being seen around later than Sammy saw her, which is weird that Sammy's like, I was the last one to have talked to her. And she says something like after the party. And it's like, and then she'll say, but I heard people in the background talking, so I knew that she was still at the party. What? But you just said you were the last one to speak to her after the party. I don't know. All right, guys. Let's get back to Nick Rinn and his statements. So he went on Duty Ron after he did that Grizzly true crime interview that we had just watched. This was the same night, but now I just want to go through, I think I only have 2 clips, and then that will conclude the statements by Nick Rinn that I wanted to go over with you guys. Now, keep in mind, everything that I'm saying, I want you to remember that Nick knows way more as far as that roadside assistant interview. So the questions that he's going to ask Barbara Butcher and want to go over with these guys, I think are significant, because we have to remember that he's under the feeling that things are suspicious, and he's shocked, remember, he said that, about aspects. So yeah, absolutely. She does a great job. I agree. I've watched her stuff ever since Gabby Petito. Definitely envy her editing skills, and whatever editing program she uses, I'm sure is top notch. So I appreciate everything that the true crime community has. Everyone brings their own, talents and all that and perspective. That's why I'm referencing these other channels too. Like, they do good work. They asked good questions. They're reaching out to these people and asking them to come on the channel. Like, I'm like shy in a way. Like, I don't really like being on camera. You guys know that. So I definitely give props to these channels who are digging into all this. Oh no, I wasn't talking about Zab's. I was talking about Olivia's editing. So I don't know what she uses, but she does really good work. Okay, so
it may impact the investigation.
Sure.
Okay. When you came to the surface, you said you thought it felt suspicious. Can you elaborate?
At Raymore and Flanagan's anniversary event, you'll save.
give a like and a subscribe if you haven't right now, please, guys.
Video is the video, and you're only seeing,
questions, but don't answer anything that you don't feel comfortable with or that you think may impact the investigation.
Sure.
Okay. When you came to the surface, you said you thought it felt suspicious. Can you elaborate?
Sure. So you got to remember the video is the video, and you're only seeing, 47 minutes of what we did for a 2-day, actually 2.5 days. Cause when we pulled into Reno, Nevada to get some items at a Best Buy the night before we started our investigation, we had a person, and part of this you see in the video. So we had some information come in that we deemed credible, and the Saturday after that we started.
So the reason why I wanted to go over this answer again, because as you guys know, I've seen this before numerous times. We've referenced it, etc. And good morning, Duty Ron. So happy to have you here. And yeah, thank you for stopping in. And chat is saying hello to you as well. So, what makes you think that it's suspicious, he's asked. And then immediately he's got to remind us. And at this point, when I'd first seen this the first 2-3 times maybe, I hadn't really studied the roadside assistant interview as intently as we did in our last live stream. So hearing his answer here really stood out to me even more so now, because it really does seem like, even though we've only been given 10% of that interview, it seems like whatever that whole entire interview is, the context of that really is amping up why he thought it was suspicious. He's flat out asked by Ed Wallace, what made you think it was suspicious? And he immediately goes to, now remember, you haven't seen this whole interview with roadside. So, I can only speculate and imagine what that whole interview information has, because if that's lighting the fire of suspicion in a way, I find it very interesting, and I'm a little bit puzzled and troubled at the same time. Exactly, Alejandra, that's not good. Like, what was said during that is really underneath his words there, where he says it looks suspicious. And again, he said before, well, I was in shock that they found her. That to me could be a lot of different things too. So what are you guys thinking? Are you on board with what I'm getting at? Let me finish this so you can hear his whole thought. But, initially he's asked, why'd you say that? And it's like, it goes right back to roadside assistance tip and everything that we heard. She asked how to hook the seatbelt to her actual belt. I mean, it's just not, and this means, if we believe all this, that car was not in that water the night of the party. It just wasn't. If this is 100% accurate, which we all are pretty much saying or believing, there are going to be skeptics, and that's fair. I 100% think it's fair, because we haven't seen all this information. So of course, if there's people who feel like this isn't accurate, I understand it. But I'm in my theory right now, I'm going to believe that it's 100% accurate. I'm not saying that he saw Kiely herself. Could be another girl. But Alicia said, I feel like roadside assistance guy could be a plant by law enforcement to set up a AWP. I don't know. Anything's possible. We'll see how that goes. So, alrighty. Oh, Scott, I didn't know you were in New York too. All right, guys. So,
started our investigation in a couple different areas, and we had a day and a half of processing what we've been told, what we're seeing on the ground, and once you finally put boots on the ground and you get a visual of where things are at and what it takes to get from one place to another, and then you pile onto that finally finding the missing vehicle in person, and the person is not in the driver's seat. And so just in general, and I know that was my first time, I didn't really have a lot to base that off of, but it just, the whole scenario of the events of the 2.5 days that we were in that part of the country, it just seemed a little suspicious to me. It didn't look, I would say it looked just as suspicious as it did that it could be a possibility of an accident.
Okay.
Fair enough.
okay. So, and then I just want to play one more the part where I think it was significant when Duty Ron gives Nick a chance. If you have any question for Barbara or Ed, feel free. So I just felt his questions that he asked were significant, because I believe that it's possible that in his mind and things that he's trying to work out, and being the eyewitness at the death scene, he had his own questions he wanted to raise. And I just think that he asks about, would you be able to know like how long, or pretty much the decomp stage. And I just feel like it's very possible that he's under the impression all Kiely in the car was put into that reservoir, possibly after it was already searched or at a later time. Like, I thought after the roadside assistance guy seen them, something took place, and then they ditched it in the water, and then law enforcement just missed it. But after listening to Nick and going over these statements with you guys this morning, I think that maybe he's on the alley or the path of thinking that they were placed there much later. And I'll play these questions that he asks of them, and he asks Ed about the black box and wanting to know, like, would that indicate when the car hit the water? So while I've thought maybe something happened like right after roadside assistance thing took place with the car, now I'm thinking like it didn't even happen that Saturday with the car going in the water. Like, it was at a different time. And I'm thinking that because of the things that Nick asks them. So that was sort of the whole purpose of this live stream, is to kind of go through Nick's statements, work through the position of the car with you guys, if you believe that it was facing the shore, the rear of it was facing the shore or not. And if that's significant, let me know what you think. I want to know what, would they be able to tell if she'd been put in there later? And that's pretty much what Nick asks. So pretty much I'm in my theory, I'm thinking that this car with her in it was hidden somewhere and then put there at a much different date than we all initially thought. So that's kind of where I'm at. And there's a lot to work through. I saw that Duty Ron said something about there's a lot to work through in this case. And that's just what I'm going through with you guys today. And I really appreciate you guys all doing that with me together. Are you guys on the same page with me? Like, as far as like my questions and the point of this stream? And Duty Ron said a little extra here. Nick asked more afterwards off camera. Interesting. I definitely figured, and you guys are good resources for him to go through to for so many different aspects of what he went through and saw. So that's awesome. And I'd seen that you guys offered your hand and advice for, you know, dealing with whatever he saw down there. So that's awesome too. And that's what's good about social media too. And I was thinking that for just as like a community thing, like it's just a good support system when you find a good crowd and a good tribe, you know, like your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think that it's good that we can all lean on each other, work through things out together on so many levels, you know? So let me just see what you guys are saying in chat. Good morning, Johnny. It's good to see you. Hi, Seagate. Okay, so I think that these questions are significant. That's just what I'm going to end it on today. And we will conclude the live stream. And I'm out of coffee too. So that means it's over.
Now, did you note the condition of the body? Was the body bloated? Was the body in its normal state?
Okay, and by the way, I slowed down the speed because same reason as before. I think that sometimes you need to slow things down and just work it out that way, like in a slow manner. Yes, Duty Ron, I will link that. It's only for Duty Ron, and I don't want anyone to clone your account. So obviously, as you do on your stream, you have them turn the camera on and give the thumbs up, because we had people as imposters before on CDTs. So just want to make sure. So give me 1 second. I will share the link with you for sure. I never have anybody up with me. So you guys know that, who have been watching me for a while. Like if it's not CDT, like, or other sleuths, how do I even share a link? Give me a second. Thank you, CDT. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. Oh yeah, duh. Invite. Copy to clipboard. And that's fine. You only have a few minutes because I do too. So it's perfect ending. Okay, I put it in chat. And thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we're just kind of winging it as we go through some stuff. So I really appreciate you guys sticking around. It's very random, and it's good. You guys know I'm like, well, for those who have watched a while, like I like to be like super organized. So random every now and then I get like, but I'm excited. There's definitely a lot of good information on Duty Ron's channel. So if anyone hasn't liked or subscribed all their stuff, you definitely should do so. And I'll be linking the channel in the description box as well. And later, actually, I believe 11:15, CDT's channel will be going live for an afternoon live stream. So in case you guys are in the office working, we are here to help you get through your workday, which Florida Bass Fishing, our moderator, always like asks us to do, like go live so I can listen to you at work. And it's like, I have nothing to say today, but today you've got both of us to get you through Florida Bass Fishing. So I hope you're happy. It is very informative. I agree, Anthony. So let me play this little clip while we wait for him to hop up real quick. So while we wait, I'll play this, and I just think it's noteworthy what he ends up asking them.
From photographs that you've seen of her?
Well, just without giving too much graphic detail, I didn't see her entire body. I just saw enough to confirm that it was in fact
teamwork. It's just a value that I've always carried. I see that every day I go to work.
I've been looking for a product like this my whole life. We were all putting it on, looking in the mirror, and we're like, oh my God.
human remains. And it was more of the legs and the feet area. And once I basically saw that and that there was actual skin, then I confirmed. Now, the position of her, I can tell you this, was there must have been some bloating starting because her feet were down and I couldn't see the rest of her because it was dark. The vehicle was upside down and she would have been up against the top of the vehicle, which would actually been the bottom of the vehicle because it was upside down.
So she would have been, her upper torso would be towards the floor of the cargo area and her feet were down by the roof.
Correct.
Okay. And there's a lot of rumors or a lot of things going around on the internet about a seatbelt that was, did you see a seatbelt that was protruding out of the back hatch?
I did not at the time. However, I just left another live stream from another channel and they showed me that. I didn't notice that when I was diving. She showed me the screenshot basically of that video footage.
I saw that too. Yeah, I saw it. I saw that picture. But again, when you're down there, that's, you're not looking at these little details. So
right,
everybody has a.
Are you okay? Did
myself for it? But a lot of those emotions but I'm doing good.
All right, great.
Nick, I don't know if you see these. They need your support
to get some items at a best. I learned time period.
Nick, because we have, quite an experienced panel here. Do you have any questions that you might?
Okay, so I see Duty Ron backstage. I want to add him, but I guess I need you to turn your camera on to show me beforehand. Because we can't just have like your camera off and yeah. So how do I do that? Because I can't just add you to the stream without showing your camera on. Otherwise, it's questionable. So yeah, definitely. Oh, hi. Hi, nice to meet you.
All right, so I don't know why I'm getting an echo. I'm not used to doing this. I don't do this often, so that's why I was like popping in and out because I'm not sure if I'm getting it right. But
same page.
Yeah. So anyways, I wanted to just say quickly, like you talked earlier about the window, the window that Nick said was completely out, like passenger side window, right? Down or out. And also the driver's side, how it potentially got broken out when the car got flipped or by some other means. We don't know if they did it when they were bringing it back up, to reach in and do the wheel. Nobody knows unless you were there. But my point is, I wanted to bring up about that is that if there was fingerprints on those windows and it was broken out by law enforcement, another mistake. And I hate to keep bringing up these mistakes, but if somebody put their fingers, say we had a good fingerprint, Ed Wallace told us that you can get fingerprints from underneath the water. If those fingerprints were compromised by breaking out that window, either intentionally or unintentionally, another mistake. And that supports why we said that the vehicle should have been dragged out on its roof.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just like a huge piece of evidence just gone, just crumbled, literally.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate. But we really appreciate all the information that you and Ed bring. I just wanted to thank you for everything that you guys bring, and just we love your content and information, and obviously you being law enforcement gives a totally different perspective. So just thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me up. I mean, there's so much that I could add into this thing. It's just that I'm at my place of business, so it's tough for me to do this. But
No
at
problem.
the same time, I thought it was important for your viewers to hear that point, because a lot of people are forgetting or not talking about that. But we did cover it. That is also a potential of wasted evidence by breaking out a window prematurely. You know, don't forget, we hope and assume that they photographed, they drew diagrams, took video of that vehicle after Adventurers with Purpose handed it over to them. We're hoping and praying that they went down there and did the right thing. We know that in New York City, that's how we do it, and that's how it should have been done. And you'll hear Ed talk about that many, many times. So that's also a concern. But we're also hoping that they did do the right thing by documenting, videoing, and everything with Nick, this tow driver, tow trucks, AAA, whatever you want to call them. Everything with him, people have to remember, Adventures with Purpose were clear about it, that he interviewed with law enforcement and FBI prior to them talking to him. So everything that he's told them all gets verified, VIN numbers get checked, video footage gets looked at that we don't have access to. So there's so much behind the scenes that we don't have access to, and that's what's causing everyone to do their speculation and do their due diligence and checks and balances, which is good and healthy to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, they know everything because they're the ones who get the eyes on all of the evidence up front. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's just a process, and we'll have to just wait and see and hope for the best. I was wondering if maybe you could ask Ed, or if you know, or if this is even a thing, but would there be a way to use luminol like on the vehicle after it gets dried out in the forensics garage? Like, is luminol something that can be on that in the trunk area, like to pull anything?
Yeah, Ed was asked that on the live, and he answered that, and he said yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for bringing that here too. Thank you.
I got to run, but thank you for having me up, and it was a pleasure to come up here with you.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Have a good day.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
All right, guys. So that was unexpected and delightful. We like surprises every now and then. So that was awesome. And that definitely, it just brings up a lot of good points too, that stuff is going to be missing that we need. And that driver's side window definitely would have been something that we would need for evidence and all that. So let me just finish playing this clip, and this will actually just wrap it all up. He's going to ask the questions about, decomposition and then the black box. And to me, it just makes me feel like they're under the impression, Nick is under the impression possibly, or is entertaining the theory that it was placed in the water much later than we think. In my opinion, I mean, that's just what I'm gathering, and that's sort of where I'm at right now. Like, I don't have a time frame of when the car was put in there, but I do want to know and go through the search efforts and all that and figure out what days they were in the lake and all that. And I'm sure you guys already know that information. And if you do, comment down below or let me know, and we can get that information ironed out too, because it'd be nice to know exact avenues that were being taken when it was being taken in that lake. So let me just listen to Nick ask these questions, and then that'll be everything that I wanted to talk about with you guys today. So thank you again for being here, and thank you again, Duty Ron, for popping in. And yeah, let me finish this up, and then I'll be leaving. So let me know what you guys are thinking. I am looking at my notes, making sure everything's good too. So I got everything out.
I want to ask, say, Barbara from the medical examiner side on any kind of knowledge for future.
And again, I did
recoveries
slow
or
this down
anything that
because I
might
think
be sticking
it's
in your
important to
mind
kind
as
of slow it down a
question,
little
or
bit.
anything crime scene related for Ed that you could think of off the top of your head? Because I think it's not fair that we always just keep asking you questions.
Sure. I got a couple questions that I can ask that I've thought about. And this one would go to Barbara, maybe as a medical examiner. Is there a specific time period that a person would be underwater before the gases or whatever in their system would create them to bloat and become buoyant?
That's a good question, Nick. And you know, when a person drowns, or when a body is dumped in the water and it's cold, they sink. When the water is warm, like in New York in the springtime, we suddenly begin to find bodies in the rivers because the bacteria that have been dormant in the cold, when they are warmed up, they begin their bacterial decomposition actions, which produces gases and bloating. And as soon as you said that she was floating with her back up this way and, you know, limbs hanging down, that made sense to me that she has undergone a good deal of decomposition. The body would float even if she was in the driver's seat. The gases in the abdomen are going to make that body try to float to the surface. It can't because the car is there.
Sure.
So now she's going to be in the upside down car with limbs hanging. So the decomposition would be fairly advanced after 2 weeks in warm water.
Okay. And
Yeah.
75-degree water would be considered somewhat warm.
That's warm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's warm. Damn shame, because that is, you know, that warmth is going to affect the toxicology, the alcohol test, everything.
I mean, I'm glad it was only, you know, what was it, 15 days, 16 days after she went missing. But again, there's no, the other question I had for one of you or all of you, if you have any insight on this, is that I'm assuming that they'll have vehicle experts that will be able to go into I think this was if I remember right, it was a 2013 vehicle.
Yes.
I would assume that's still modern enough that it has computers and stuff to where they could maybe get some information.
So again, just highlighting Nick's question specifically had to do with time in the water and decomp. And then he wanted to know about the black box, and will the black box indicate when the car hit the water, etc. So in my mind, going through and analyzing Nick, and everything that we've done today thus far, I'm really thinking again that this is just going along with what I've said, that I think that he's taking the theory of it being placed in the water, you know, at a later date into high consideration. And that's why he takes it up this chance to ask them their expertise on this black box matter. And Duty Ron said that he's having a live tonight with Auto Crimes retired detective to talk about the black box and telematics. So that'll be very interesting, and just follows up this question here with the black box too.
To be able to tell pretty precisely as to when that vehicle entered the water?
Well, there is a data system in there. There's just a hard drive. We call it AKA the black box, okay? And it has the accident avoidance system, and it'll have information about speed, and it'll have information about erratic driving, seat belts, signal light.
Whether I'm having a great day, a bad day, my nurse's support means the world to me.
Sorry,
Hi,
guys.
We're Vimeo, and this is Vimeo Enterprise. You can create, manage.
I told my fiance we really need to get YouTube Premium because it's playing ads during my streams. Guess it's not on the top of the list for the honeydew list. Obviously, I'm just teasing. But I am sorry about the ads, guys. I know it's annoying.
All that kind of thing will be stored in there. Headlights on, headlights off. If somebody was sitting in the passenger seat, because if somebody seats there, then it activates the airbags on the right side. So all that information is stored in there. Now, whether the water affected that hard drive in there, only time will tell. They have to pull it out of the car and try to examine it to see if they can gather that information. So, there could be, speed, braking, all these things could be stored in there at the time.
So yeah, that is a good live stream. Like I said, everything that we discussed today, the sources, like I always try to do, will be linked in the description box for you guys. Now, Ed listed off a lot of the stuff that the vehicle can do as far as the black box retaining information on and all that. Nick, I think specifically, seemed to want to hone in on, like, will they be able to know when it hit the water or whatever. So that's interesting that that was specifically what he wanted to know. Which just adds into everything else that we just talked about, him being shocked that law enforcement didn't find it and they found it. And everything that he had gathered in the investigation prior to the dive kind of concluded to him being shocked and saying that it was suspicious. And again, we've only seen 10% of that roadside assistant interview. There's very much more information, obviously, and it's good to know, like Duty Ron emphasized, all that information was, first given to law enforcement, and we all recognize that they obviously know by now who's in that dash cam footage and all that. So I'm not 100% set on who I think those individuals are, but I have a gut feeling that Kiely was not the female. But again, I'm just working off of gut, which sometimes is all we have in cases. But then we just add in all the other context things. She was seen around. People said that she was seen around the Boca area that morning. We had stuff going around Facebook of people saying that, and then we had that tank top that was found in the Boca area, and it was told that it wasn't a tank top, or you guys know, we've discussed it in past streams. But CDT will be live at 11:15 So hop over there, join that chat this afternoon, and then we have Duty Ron's expert for the black box that will be live later this evening as well. So we're all looking forward to that. I'll be taking my notes like usual. And that's pretty much all I have to say, guys. Is there anything you guys wanted to say in chat before I skedaddle? Just using the term skedaddle when I never do. Thank you, Mar R, so much. I don't know, Rebecca. I don't know what's going on, but this is just crazy, everything. And the silence, it's like, of course, I want them to be crossing every scenario off their list. Like they're doing a death investigation. They have to iron out everything. They have to mark everything off. So, yeah, I'm just somebody who says skedaddle now, Delaney. Oh, thank you, Mel Mac. Okay, that's it, guys. I gotta go. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you again, Duty Ron. Hi, BLN. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.